All right, in 3, 2, 1.
This is the podcast.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Now I have to like override this.
Get to the podcast with the number 2. Get down with the sickness. Down with the sickness.
Wow. This is like a
Limp Bizkit.
You ever
That's
seen
not Limp Bizkit. That's Disturbed.
It's like a scene out of
Yo,
One
Limp
Flew Over the
Bizkit
Cuckoo's
did do
Nest.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, they did in Mission
But they
Impossible
didn't
2.
say get down with the sickness.
They did. That's
Come on, get down
System
with
of...
the- yes,
that's-
they
that's-
did. Get down with the sickness.
No, he
yes,
doesn't.
yes,
That's
he
a
does.
ripoff
No,
of
he
the
doesn't.
Disturbed song.
It's a Disturbed. No, you're
Am
mixing shit
I
up.
wrong?
You're
Anyways,
mixing
Limp
shit up.
Bizkit
He
did Mission
talks like
Impossible,
that,
and
like
that's where I
that.
was going
It's-
with this.
It sounds like
that.
that.
Song's from Chocolate
Yeah.
Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water, the Limp Bizkit album.
Chocolate
Mission Impossible
Starfish.
2. Yeah, and what you're in the Get Down with the Sickness is the Disturbed song. Or whatever.
Anywho, I was trying to get
Wow,
down with
this
the
is like an
sickness for
insane
Mission
asylum.
Impossible.
Should
Yo,
we
what's
tell
going
them?
on,
Yeah.
everyone? Welcome to Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the
sickness.
Yeah, get to the podcast with the number 2.
He doesn't.
What
No,
is
it's
he
not
doesn't
it.
say? He's not Michael Jackson, man.
So
Shimon. All right.
I thought it was Jumbo.
Welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with number 2. As you can see here, we're very excited about this Versus episode. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
and
Diego's
I will just say we have 2 insane people here right now who just
Oh,
said the most
come
insane
on.
shit to
This
me
coming
ever.
from the guy who thought Ghostbusters 2 was better than Ghostbusters 1.
my
Thought.
gosh.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
it's the present
Oh,
tense.
wow.
Thanks.
You're a dude.
So this is it.
You're
This
a
is a
douche.
No
very
past tense.
blood heavy bruise
What?
in like argument right now because
All right, Diego's
this
on my
is getting-
side, so I'm not going to shit on you too much for whatever the fuck you're saying. But this guy over here with his
Dude.
glasses on,
like a triple
and his
versus
devil
'cause
may
it's
care
hard being on his
attitude,
side.
and his coiffed hair
Coiffed.
is fucking over here saying that James Bond is better than Mission Impossible.
What?
And he might have a
Fuck.
few people.
Fuck yes! Are you kidding me?
You know
right
what I
now?
have to say
First
about
of all, it's called Mission Impossible, not Ethan Hunt Possible. It's fucking James Bond is literally James Bond. It's like 007 in this thing, and then the title is like this, a subtitle.
Where are you going with this?
Like
Yeah,
that's
what's-
the whole. That
what's the
already
point?
tells you that this is better.
No, Mission Impossible is Ethan Hunt and his team, right?
Yes.
So it's a team activity, which is way better than just seeing some one solo guy who's
He's
like
not
a rapist.
solo. He has Money
He's a
Penny. He has Q.
He's a
He has
rapist.
M. He's got all these fucking people.
He's,
has
a full,
letters.
he's a full-on rapist.
It wasn't.
He's a therapist.
He's the rapist.
They just basically said, "Yeah, it's not that good, so we're not going to give names to the characters. So just give them,
philanthropist. He's a full-on
Yeah,
rapist.
yeah.
He's a philanthropist, a full-on rapist.
We'll just name them letters."
All right, exactly. Okay, so back up. So we're gonna do James Bond versus Mission Impossible in honor of Mission Impossible Fallout, Mission Impossible,
Which looks really good.
6.
I will say that.
Yes.
It looks really good.
It looks
The
good.
buzz right now is that this is one of the greatest action movie in the last few years. They get very deep
It's like
on the Ethan
Unleashed.
Hunt character. There's like they get into layers on this guy, and he really
I'm
it's an
skeptical, as
got an emotional
usual.
through. Like you're
be
not
quiet.
really though. You're
They
just being
said
an
Blade
asshole.
Runner 2049 was like the best science fiction film made in the last 15 years.
And
or
it
something.
was. You just were in a
And
bad
I watched
mood.
it and I was like, it's a good movie.
You were
It's
in a bad
definitely not
mood.
the best science fiction film.
It was
made
really
in
good. You were in a bad mood.
All right.
You were in a bad mood.
No, I wasn't.
You were.
No.
Yeah, you just had gotten your penis circumcised that day. You were in a bad mood. I'm making shit up.
That's true. That did happen.
That did
Yo,
happen.
you can't.
Self-inflicted.
So I did it myself.
With a
I was trying to cut
coat hanger.
costs. I was
Yeah.
trying to
Hey,
cut
Neil,
costs.
your mom came
Cut
by and brought
costs.
your pills because this is fucked up. I'm just saying.
So you're on James Bond's
Of course.
D.
I don't know why you guys aren't.
And
This
we're
is-
over here
how did
on
this
Mission
even
Impossible,
happen?
Ethan Hunt.
This was not planned either. This is like just 5 minutes
5 seconds
ago.
before we hit
It's
record,
We
we're like,
seriously switched the podcast.
Somebody just spit this
Diego
out.
said it, and I was
Diego
like,
said it.
good idea.
And I was like, are you guys fucking high?
Both
Like,
spy
what?
genre, both spy films.
yeah.
One's got an original TV series, and then it has the 6 movies.
So-
and then Bond is coming up on Bond 25, actually Bond 27 if you include the original Casino Royale
Correct.
and Never
Yeah.
Say
It's a
Never
TV
Again.
movie, right?
No, it was
original
a movie.
wasn't?
Yeah,
No.
it was just a movie.
Okay.
With
this is a total. This
Robert
is related. Daniel Craig just toured the CIA headquarters in Langley, which is like right near us.
Yeah.
And they basically were like, he was doing something where he's talking to like actual spies, like
Yeah.
real spies, and how they actually interact, and they're not like
Wow.
they're not like him. It's unreal. It's his.
Well, that's a point for Ethan Hunt, because Ethan Hunt didn't have to tour it. He broke in.
When was he invited to Langley? Oh, he
Ethan Hunt-
wasn't, because nobody gives a shit about
Because he
Ethan
broke
Hunt.
into Langley. He didn't have to. He got in there anyways because he's a fucking
He
boss.
zipped
is
in
a
from the
CIA
ceiling,
agent.
bro.
The original
He is
Mission
a CIA
Impossible
agent, right?
No. It's
Wasn't he a
IMF.
CIA?
IMF.
Oh.
IMF, yeah.
It's a separate
It's a
agency,
made
but
up.
he breaks
It's made
into
up. It's not
Langley.
So you don't even know
He
the
breaks.
agency.
He breaks into Langley in the first one because they were like, "No, you can't come in," and he's like, "I'm kicking the fucking door down." That
Wait.
scene is incredible, by the way.
But
Yes.
All right, let's talk
James
about
Bond is actually as part of what the fuck is it? What's the British
it. It's
intelligence?
MI6.
MI6, which exists,
Yeah, which
Yeah.
exists.
which is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did they have to create the IMF?
That's-
which is just
that's
Because it was
Stupid.
so damn good.
That's a stupid
We're like,
argument.
Nah, we can't hold it back
so,
by
but
creating.
we should
this.
mention
Stupid
that
argument.
Ethan
Means
Hunt is
nothing.
the Mission Impossible is based on a TV show, right?
Yeah,
Originally, it was a TV series.
the guy from
probably
Airplane.
like America's, response to James Bond at the time.
It may have, but it was Jim Phelps, which what's the John Voight's
Yeah.
character in the original Mission Impossible he played the character who was the head guy, the main guy in the original Mission Impossible series.
Right.
So what they did with that reboot movie, which was very smart, is they
I
were
like
like,
the
we're going to
movie a
take the original guy, we're going to make him basically older and bitter.
Yeah.
And we're going to make him the bad guy. And I like that. They basically flipped it on its head. They're like, let's take a character from the original one, the guy that everybody loved, the main guy, and let's make him the villain.
Yeah.
And just show you we're going in a different direction. They created an original character with Ethan Hunt. He wasn't from the original show, so it's not like they just borrowed a character. They
Yeah.
created him, and now he's become this kind of iconic guy. He's inseparable from Tom Cruise, whereas James Bond has been reinvented, and you got your Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton.
I feel like you're arguing my side.
Pierce
Everything
Brosnan,
you're saying
Daniel
is like
Craig.
a
No,
pro.
That just means it is got a longer history, whereas the Mission Impossible movie, the movie franchise, is only 22 years old.
But even if, let's say, you just compared the Daniel Craig films with, the Cruise
Yeah.
films, the Ethan Hunt.
I don't
Cruise
think
films,
I think
I
Mission
don't
Impossible is way better because Daniel Craig, Casino Royale.
Yes.
Casino Royale is incredible, right? I really liked Skyfall. I actually really
Skyfall
like
was
Spectre.
fantastic.
A lot of people
Spectre
didn't.
was good. I
Spectre
liked
got a
Spectre.
lot of detractors, but I actually really liked Spectre. Quantum of Solace, I didn't enjoy. I'll be honest. I felt like wow.
I also did not enjoy it. I don't know what happened with that.
I
movie.
literally was confused, and it was a follow up to one
I'm
of the
still
greatest.
confused when I watch
I know.
this movie.
I know.
I wasn't a fan of the last Mission Impossible.
If
also.
you, okay,
I'll tell you
yeah,
right
we
now.
talked about
this
that.
is like indicative of these Mission Impossible films. I will watch them once,
Yeah.
and then never again. I've rewatched Casino Royale
have-
20
I
times.
don't believe
I've
that.
rewatched.
How many times have you seen the
Skyfall.
original Mission
I've
Impossible?
rewatched Spectre.
How many times have you seen the original Mission Impossible?
I don't know, 5 times.
That's a lot. How many times have you watched the third Mission Impossible?
what? You mean the second?
what?
I'm-
what? Look,
you have
You mean
Okay,
the
fine.
second film? This motherfucker right here.
I
Sandy
ju- I-
Newton is in that film. Who's an incredible actor.
Yeah,
I
okay,
love
and
Sandy
Anthony
Newton.
Hopkins is in it.
Anthony
Okay.
Hopkins is also. God,
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's go with the second
How
one.
did that
How many
movie
times have you seen
turn
it?
into
How many times have
poo-poo?
you seen the second one?
It was just on TV. Actually, they've been looping it on HBO recently.
You've
and,
seen it a few times.
It's
It's the
been on
worst of
TV
them.
so many times that I'm like, these movies are awful. Why do people like these?
And you watch it.
And it was that movie.
I'm
That
gonna
was the
watch
one
it
that
to
I've seen
try and
And
take
the
repeatedly.
second one, which is the worst of the franchise, you watched several times.
I feel like the third was the high point, and then after that, it was like.
Are you talking about
what
the one-
happened?
I think that's the opposite.
Bird.
Brad Bird did the
Brad
fourth.
Bird.
Third one was J.J. Abrams.
Oh, JJ, yeah. The
Great
one with
fucking
JJ.
movie. Philip Seymour
Philip
Hoffman.
Seymour
Oh,
Hoffman.
that,
when
that
Wolf.
to me that was the best.
So
one.
That's
good.
the best one. Yeah, that's how I
So
feel.
good.
You don't think
Okay.
it's the best one?
I you know what? That's the funny thing is I actually like them all, and the thing I like about these movies is they all are very different from each other.
Yeah.
and they don't blend together. You know what all of them are. Like you go, that's that film because they always brought in a different director. This is the first time. The sixth one is the first time they brought a director back. They've always let a director come in and add his own style. The original is Brian De Palma. It's very
John Woo.
thriller. Yeah. Second one is John
Yeah.
Woo. It's very John Woo. Ethan Hunt's character even feels a little different from the original one.
Oh, yeah.
The third one is J.J. Abrams, but it's grounded. It's gritty. It's dark. It's
You don't know what the
way-
fuck is happening. Like
No.
half that movie, and then there's like all these insane twists. Like as the movie plays
Yes.
out, and you're like, this
Yeah.
movie's crazy.
It starts with his wife getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
I love the way that
And
movie
Philip
starts.
Seymour Hoffman is like JJ had just
Best villain
this,
in all
like-
the movies. Best
Yeah.
villain, hands down. Philip Seymour Hoffman killed it in that
Yeah,
role.
he did.
So good.
Yeah.
You see how they're making
I
the
don't even
masks for the
remember
first
who the
time.
villains are
He
in the
breaks
later
into the
films.
Vatican in the third one.
Does he?
Oh yeah, he
In
does.
the third film, yeah, he breaks into the Vatican, goes up on that wall. He he runs up the wall with that cable. Then he lays over on his back, and then he puts a little card up in front of the camera. Remember, and the other guy, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, is getting in the fight with the Italians and that thing with the broken down vehicle.
yeah.
And then later,
Here's the thing.
it's a great
with Mission
scene where he breaks
Impossible.
into the Vatican.
See, here's the thing about
You like
Mission
that movie. We
Impossible.
just talked-
he
that's your
does.
favorite
That's why
movie.
he's
What are you
smirking.
talking about?
He's smirking. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm losing this
I
battle.
love
No,
the
I'm
third
not
film.
because fucking Casino Royale is better than all of them.
Casino
including the
Royale
first
is a
film.
single film.
Doesn't matter.
It's a
I
great
love
film.
Casino Royale.
And I might even go as far as to say Skyfall is better than all of
I
them.
don't agree with that. I like Skyfall a lot, but I think
Skyfall. Javier
movie-
Bardem is fucking incredible
He
in
is.
that
Oh, yeah.
movie.
that
Look,
movie.
let me
I-
tell-
He is like
let me
out
say
of
this
all
about
the
James
Daniel
Bond
Craig films,
films.
he was the best villain.
yeah.
Let me say this about James
Period.
Bond films.
Um,
They are. Casino Royale was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
That's a totally different
It
standard.
literally-
That's a
it
totally
changed
different
it's the
standard.
best
whole-
Bond film.
It's the best Bond film.
Best
It
Bond.
But if
changed
you
like
look,
the entire
if you
Bond
look at
universe.
after that,
Yeah.
after that,
Quantum
a
is followed up by
lot
I don't
of
even
the
remember
other
what
films,
happens in Quantum
Quantum
Solace.
Solace is the Mission Impossible 2 of Bond films.
Yeah, a lot of them just
Yeah.
became like really, really artistic pieces. They're just like get extravagant locations and let's try to do.
Dude,
this
the
most
opening of
best
Skyfall-
The
That's
train,
what I
the train, the
loved
train
how
scene
I loved
on
how
the train.
every
Yeah.
movie opens like even the opening of Spectre where he's like you see him like walking and that music the drums start playing it's like and it is
Yeah.
consistent. There are like 10 minutes of him just walking through like the Day of the Dead
Yeah.
wherever he is
Yeah,
I don't know,
Spectre.
Argentina
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then he goes up the stairs and it's just like a hand cam. The camera
Yep.
just follow him like
Yeah.
one cut. It doesn't cut
Yep.
from anything. And then he walks out the window and she's like, the lady gets in the bed like a bang. And then she's like, where are you going? He's like, I'll be right back.
Yeah,
And he walks out the
right.
window, takes
Yeah.
everything off, and then he just goes. And
I was
like-
shocked when people didn't like Spectre, by the way. That did
That
shock
opening
me.
is incredible.
I was like, what are
Just from
people
I was like,
talking
this
about?
is fucking
Yeah.
Bond.
It's
right
great.
here.
You know
And
what
then-
my issue was with that and what was the last Mission
Spectre was the last one. Oh, Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation.
Rogue
which I
Nation.
still don't understand why you're not a fan of that movie.
No, it was
rewatch it?
the reason
No.
why
I need
is
to
because
rewatch it.
I feel it was the reverse. I feel Spectre was a lot more a Mission Impossible, and Mission Impossible was a lot more of a James Bond.
Spectre
film.
was still stripped
The
down.
thing that I didn't like
think it
about
got
that
crazy.
one is
There's slow
the
moments
Mission
in
Impossible.
Spectre.
It was that
There are.
But
it
there's
was-
some incredible set pieces.
Yeah, no,
Incredible-
there-
end scene
that's
with
the whole
with
thing. That's
the
what I'm
Dark
saying.
Knight ripoff with the building with the different like they had to go through the thing.
Let me go back to what I was saying
That
before.
did happen. But the whole scene where they're up at the top of the mountain and he gets in the plane and he's flying the plane
Yeah.
and then he gets shot up and then he like lands the plane
Yeah.
and then like the wings get ripped off and he's like
Still
you know,
going
Yeah.
with the
all of that
fuselage.
shit like that whole car chase thing with the like that was just incredible.
But
That's
here's
like
what I
James
was saying
Bond.
about. Here's what I was saying is that I felt like James Bond just became. Let's have these extremely extravagant scenes in the
Yeah.
film, and there wasn't a lot of storytelling.
But that's James Bond. That's
No,
always been
James
that's
Bond had
always
some
been
good
James Bond.
storytelling.
No,
James
I'm saying
Bond had
go
some-
to the 25 movies. The movie, what had happened was Dr. No was great. The original Sean Connery, the
Russia
first
with Love,
one.
I liked a
From
lot.
Russia with Love. There was actually a lot of high points. There's a lot of low points in the James
true.
Bond. And the ones that were low, they became almost campy B movies and focused more on the elaborate devices and gadgets and the invisible cars and shit. And you know, and they didn't really concentrate on the story and the acting
Yeah.
and all that shit. It got weird. You know, Roger Moore's Live and Let Die was a high point. That was a really good one. There
I
was-
even like Timothy Daltrey.
It's Timothy Dalton.
Timothy
And-
Dalton and The Living Daylights.
yeah,
and,
Living Days and
Dying- no.
License to Kill.
License to Kill. License to Kill was a
Yeah.
really good.
Very
Oh, yeah.
80s,
Oh, yeah.
very
Shit.
80s movies.
He was actually supposed to do a third. He had signed 3 films, and then he basically was under contract to do 3. They called him back to do a third film, and it had been like 18 months since he had done the last film.
Yeah.
And he was just like, at one point he was ready. He's like, I waited for you guys. Like I didn't do any movies because
Right.
I've been under contract with you, and now you're calling it. He's like, no.
Right.
Like it was this weird thing where he couldn't do anything else because he was waiting
Under
for them
contract, yeah.
to like contact him about
Yeah.
doing the next Bond film, and then it went so long. He's just like, I went out of this contract. Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done nothing with my acting
And they
career
didn't-
for
they
like
didn't
a
do a
year and
movie
half.
for, like,
they fucked him basically.
6 or 8 years. They didn't do another one until they came back in
a while.
95 with GoldenEye and Pierce Brosnan.
which is incredible. That was a great reboot.
Which same director as Casino Royale, Martin Campbell. He
Yeah.
directed both of them. He rebooted Bond twice
I will
successfully.
say, GoldenEye is like a fucking high point for
Yes.
me. Like that movie.
GoldenEye. When I
still
saw that in
today
theaters,
holds
that's
up.
what hooked me on Bond originally. I saw that when I was 9 years old,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is the shit." And then the video game, obviously, the Nintendo 64
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah.
It's like honestly the greatest
Oh,
marketing
it's-
fucking scheme ever because every kid played GoldenEye.
Dude, it's like historic. It's
on this new
historic.
system, this new cool updated system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was a big thing. But honestly, every other Pierce Brosnan movie, for the most part, especially Tomorrow Never Dies, was not feeling it.
Was that the one with Denise Richards?
No, that was
Michelle Yeoh?
Tomorrow Never Dies. I think had what's her face?
I think it was Denise Richards.
No,
No, that wasn't Tomorrow
what was
Never
the
Dies.
one after that?
Die Another Day was one with Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was the?
It was Halle Berry and then
So-
the British actress.
Oh
I
no,
forget
it
her
was
name.
what's that Latin actress?
Tomorrow Never Dies had Robert Carlyle, right? Was that the one with Robert Carlyle?
Yes.
From Money.
Yeah,
From Money.
that's Denise Richards.
Which, yeah, she was in that, I guess. Yeah, but it was started off with somebody else who ended up dying really early on, and then then
Then
it was
she comes
Denise
back.
Richards. Yeah,
It was like
Then she
Denise
goes back,
Richards.
yeah.
I forget who the other actor. It was Michelle Yeoh.
Right. And The World Is Not Enough was one of them, right? Yeah, Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, that's right. World Is Not Enough. Wasn't that one of the Pierce Brosnan films?
Fuck. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. That might be the Denise. Maybe I'm
I think-
mixing
I
the
think
two
World
up.
Is
One
Not
had
Enough was
Michelle
the-
Yeoh and one had Denise Richards.
Yeah, and I think Michelle Yeoh
Yeah.
was Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. I can even look it up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Tomorrow Never Dies was Michelle Yeoh.
While he's looking that up,
I mean,
the-
I wouldn't equate them to the Daniel Craig films, but yeah, they're definitely.
Yeah, I think they
entertaining
went. I think they generally went south after Goldeneye. I think Goldeneye was great, and then I just
I like
think,
Die Another Day.
Yeah. By the way, Die Another Day was one of the better ones out of that, but Tomorrow Never Dies wasn't great.
I don't know, man.
World
It's
Is
so
Not Enough.
iconic that I could go
Yeah,
into
Michelle
a movie
Yeoh was
theater and the
Tomorrow Never
movie could be
Dies.
bad, but as long as it starts with like, dun,
I think that's the thing for you is that he's an iconic character for
Yeah.
you. But the thing about Mission Impossible, man,
he's
it's
not.
just
Ethan Hunt isn't for me.
Ethan. It's
That's
not
fine.
Ethan.
The universe
Hunt.
isn't, or the group
The
isn't.
universe
or
is
everything.
It's
incredible.
impactful in a different way, though. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like you get all like, oh, the theme song and everything, and the theme
I
song.
kinda
First
would-
off,
if they wanted to create a James Bond thing,
Mission
they should have
Impossible
like
has-
Here's
not
the thing.
remade the theme
If-
every movie.
If
No,
I'm
you
gonna
should-
go
that's,
on a roller coaster,
James Bond does it.
If I'm gonna go on a roller coaster ride, I would go on
talk
a
about it
Mission
in a second.
Impossible ride, not a James Bond ride.
I've done the James
Really?
Bond one that they used to
That's
have
what
at
I'm
King's Dominion. They had that big 3D chair. The chair they had.
Because
Oh,
think
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
That was good. That was
Think
good.
about
It's like
the
jumping
excitement.
over.
Think
Days
about
of
the
Thunder,
excitement
that
that you
was-
have in Mission. There's so much that happens within a Mission
Am I
Impossible.
missing
film.
something? I
There's
need to
so
watch
much
these.
excitement.
You know what it
There's
is?
so like I'm excited to hear about what stunts are going to be in
The
this
stunts,
film
the
and how
stunts
they're
are
gonna
not
film.
just a marketing gimmick. They're
They're not.
awesome, but they're not all the films are about, and that's what I like. They don't just Fast and Furious it, where they're just like, oh, we'll just do this and we'll just concentrate mainly on that. They put those in
the beginning.
a movie that's really fucking solid.
Yeah.
They have great action, but they also have great storylines. They have great dialogue and characters, and they really kind of develop these things, and that's what I like. The only movie that was very stylized in the Mission Impossible movies that basically it didn't look like they were. It looked like they excused everything else just to do these crazy things was Mission Impossible 2, where it was like it looks like this mission just got a lot more impossibler. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
But that's John Woo. John Woo's not known for
Impossible
doing
2,
much
Mission
more.
Impossible.
He's very stylized.
It was
He's
a lot
very-
of slow motion Tom
I
Cruise on the
remember.
bike and
The
stuff.
like flying kicks and that hair, man. That hair was just
I
flying.
know
all
it
over
was
the place
it was
in
too
slow
much.
motion
Now, but
all
there's
the
still
time.
there's still some good things in Mission Impossible 2. That whole scene in the end where he's actually climbing the rock thing, it's just kind of cool.
No, there's good like setups in that film.
Yeah.
You know what
But-
it is?
but-
The
but-
reason I like the third one so much is because it reminded me of a James
first-
Bond film.
Oh,
That's
really?
why I liked
Yeah.
it. Yes.
I don't feel like that's anything like James Bond.
No.
That third film, what
Yeah.
what in that
That was
reminds
very
me of
dark.
James Bond?
because of the villain.
that was
Because the
what?
villain is so memorable, and that's every James Bond film has like the opening, the original song that's like the opening with all the
Who's the villain in Quantum of Solace?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I already said this earlier. I said I don't
he's
remember.
like the villain in Mission Impossible 4. It's kind of forgettable. I remember the villain in
Oh,
Mission
yeah, the
Impossible
guy
4.
who dies in Spectre, who like he's like you're. There's so many great lines. Like I just rewatched Spectre, and that there's that line where he's talking to that guy who got poisoned by whatever the dude's name is.
You mean
from,
Mr. White?
Mr. White?
Yeah,
Isn't he
Mr.
the bad guy?
He's not the bad guy in Quantum of
He's
Solace.
the guy
It's
who
that,
goes
it's that
after
young guy.
because-
No, it's that young guy with the slicked hair. He wears the white suit
But
or
I thought
whatever. It's not
Mr.
Mr.
White was like running that guy or
Yeah,
something.
but Mr. White's in Casino Royale, and he shoots him at the end in the leg.
Yeah.
Remember? And like he's behind shit.
Yeah.
And then he ends up killing himself in Spectre, right? Doesn't he end up
Well, he's
killing
dying
himself?
anyway.
He's
He's
dying,
gonna
but
be
then
dead
he
in,
leaves
like,
the
a
gun
week
there
or
for him to
something.
kill himself, right? And then he meets his daughter or
No,
something.
he doesn't leave the gun there. He hands him the gun because the guy, he's like, I need to know where your daughter is because I'm trying to find.
That's what I'm
Spectre
saying.
or
He hands him the
whatever.
gun. The guy kills himself.
He
Yeah.
gives
Isn't
him
that
the
what
gun,
happens?
and he's like, "This is how much." He didn't give him the gun to kill himself. He gave him the gun to prove that James Bond wasn't there to assassinate him, and then the guy used the gun to kill himself.
I thought he was kind of like, it was implied that like, okay, I'm going to leave this gun with you
I didn't
and
get that.
kill yourself. Oh. Because
But anyway, there's this amazing line that he says where he's like, it's always like this memorable line that's just it's incredible writing, which has never occurred for me in Mission Impossible.
that's
I'm just gonna say.
bullshit. You're a
What?
lying sack of
So
shit.
there's this great
You're
line.
just trying to win.
Spectre.
You're
Let me just
trying
say
to
the
win.
line. The line was.
I'm gonna acknowledge the things
he's
that are
like,
good about James Bond. Don't lie.
You're
Don't
a-
fucking lie if you're gonna win this
the
thing.
guy, Mr. White, says to James Bond, he's like, he says something like, "You're a kite dancing in a hurricane,
Yeah.
Mr. Bond." Remember that
Yeah.
line? But that whole scene is just incredible. Like, I love that moment, and I love going back to like Skyfall, the moments between Albert Finney when he goes back to Skyfall,
Yeah,
which you find
yeah.
out is the name of his like residence where he grew up, and it's
Yes.
like you find out more about his family. And then in Spectre, you find out that this was the guy that he grew up with.
Yeah.
How are
It's
you
just
not?
like
How
somebody
you,
he thought had been dead.
His
whole-
brother.
What?
That was his brother.
Yeah,
He's
it's
like
like not
adopted
biological,
brother.
adopted brother or
Okay.
whatever, who like murdered Bond's,
He's
you know,
Blofeld.
adoptive parents
Okay,
or whatever.
so
So good.
Ghost
It's like all
Protocol-
they all connect, which is
Ghost
great.
Protocol.
But that's
Which
only
the
the new
other Bond films
They didn't
don't
do
do
that.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's great. So I don't know why.
no,
you guys are
that's
shitting
great.
on-
James Bond is awesome, but
Oh,
like,
we're done.
Ghost
That was-
Protocol.
thanks for listening,
You
guys.
have 2 floors, and you have some people having to do a trade on on the top floor, doing another trade on the second floor. This is the whole
and the Burj
mission.
Khalifa-
While Tom Cruise is
It's
outside
outside.
scaling this
That's-
fucking building, like all this have to happen.
that's a brilliantly
That is
executed.
incredible
scene. Like,
it's
that's
so
just-
awesome because everything's so like how they cut it, how they filmed it, how they timed it. Everything had to be timed to like the precise.
That's better than the
second.
train scene in the beginning of Skyfall.
That is better than this. Thank
All
you.
of-
You knew where I was going
You
to.
know
Thank
what
you
it
for
is?
reading my
You
mind.
know what?
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's the thing that makes James Bond so unique is like the style he brings to the
He's
character.
elegant.
Yeah,
He's so
that
elegant.
like British elegance that comes with doing something insane. Like
Yeah.
that whole scene where the fucking tractor. He like gets in the tractor. It's on the train. It's moving, trying to catch the bad guy. He separates the trains. The tractor arm comes down, hooks into the other train, and then it starts to like rip the
it
back
apart.
of the train apart because this other section of the train is separating.
Right.
Like the weight of it slowing down. He climbs out, jumps on the thing, like runs on the arm, and then leaps as it rips the whole back of the next cart up off,
Yeah.
lands inside, and then like straightens his suit and just keeps walking.
And straightens his cuffs.
Fucking
His cuffs.
iconic
Yeah,
as
yeah,
shit.
great.
I have never seen that in
Yeah,
Mission
he's
You are
Impossible.
super
out of your
elegant.
fucking mind, you lying sack of
No, not
shit
once.
balls.
Look. No,
Bullshit.
he can have it.
There's
Let
no
him have that.
style.
That's fine.
No,
There's
that's
no
a good thing. No, it's
style.
what he said at the end. No, the scene is great, but to say that there's not some fucking awesome like
No,
scene
there
where
are
you're like,
some incredible
that was
setups in
incredible.
Mission Impossible. There are some incredible stunts
Incredible.
and incredible scenes that are done, but that style's not there. And
Look
it
at-
doesn't
look
make
at
it.
the
it
scene
It's
where he-
that's why you ask if you go up to somebody, you're like, you like
Because
those
he doesn't
Ethan
wear
Hunt
a
films, and they
tuxedo?
don't know what the fuck you're talking
That's
about.
not
So
true.
here's
You've
the
never
difference.
done that. You're
Here's the
lying.
difference.
You're
Because this is how much I don't care.
You're
about
dishonest.
this
You were dishonest.
You're-
Mission
I'm
I'm not
Impossible.
that dishonest.
Let me say, Mission Impossible.
People know who James Bond is. They don't know who Ethan Hunt is.
Really?
They know
How
what-
are you gonna say
They
something
know what
like-
Mission
You're
Impossible is.
saying that with no proof.
They know what Mission Impossible
Yeah,
is.
you literally
The
say
Ethan
yeah.
Hunt?
I'm gonna do a survey of all
Okay,
everybody
first
I
off,
know.
I want to back up because I just want to
Do you
cover
know who
this
Ethan
point
Hunt
really
is?
quick because you had said this earlier. The theme music of Mission Impossible is as iconic as the theme music for James
Yes.
Bond.
Hold on, I will say
If
another thing.
Everybody would probably have equal recognition, possibly even more recognition, just
Mission
because of the
Impossible.
last few years of Mission Impossible. It's
When they
really-
first came out
it
with
pumps
that,
you up.
when they
true.
first came
Yes,
out
but
with
so
that,
does James
how
Bond
many
music.
people
It
use
does.
that as their ringtone?
It doesn't get you fucking pumped like you're ready to punch somebody in the goddamn jaw. But Mission Impossible 4
no,
Ghost
but
Protocol, where he
if-
goes light the fuse, Benji, and he goes shh, and wow, holy shit. Sorry. When he goes light the fuse, Benji, and he lights it across the fucking wall, and he
Yeah.
lights it, and then it just goes right into the opening credit scene
Oh,
after he
that
breaks
was
out of the
awesome.
prison, where he's like, oh, come on, there's just a lot of scenes, and it's only gotten better in terms of just like really figuring out these scenes. It started with Mission Impossible, the first one, when he breaks into Langley. You know how many times that scene has been copied and parodied and
That first film is like so original, but I feel like all the later films are so different from that film.
That's what's great. First off,
that-
I've always
that
said
film is
Rogue
like this
Nation is
mis-
the most similar to the original, and I've said this before, and that's why I want you to rewatch.
Well, I need to
Rogue
rewatch
Nation.
it because I said this before, like a year ago or something. We were talking about this, and I said that out of all of those films, up to the most recent film, I've always felt that the first one is still the best film out of all of them. I never
that's
felt
fine.
like any of the other films got better.
Casino Royale is the best out of all the Daniel Craig movies, so that's like that's
I
not-
don't know, man. I mean,
What
it
kind of
is,
argument
but
is
I
this?
might,
Yeah.
I actually might hold up Skyfall as like almost comparable.
You're only saying that because because we're arguing about because you've literally
No.
told me in the last couple weeks that Casino Royale is the best of the Bond films. We said this. I haven't on recordings.
Yeah, but the
in
more
earlier
like I
podcasts.
rewatched Skyfall and like rewatching Javier Bardem's portrayal of the
Yeah,
villain,
it's
like
great.
and like a lot of the setups in Skyfall, I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe this is like as good or better.
It's a
than,
deeper film.
than like
Yeah.
Casino Royale.
It's
It
a
is,
deeper
and then
film,
with the
but
whole
Casino
thing with
Royale-
M and all that, and M's connection to Javier Bardem's character, and then the way
Casino
M,
Royale is very historic to how he became Bond.
Yeah, it's very,
And
like,
a
origin
great film.
story.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I will say
Here's
I'm
the
not huge
difference
on
between
Ray Fiennes becoming the new
Yeah,
M,
here's
but whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
here's the
fine with it. I
difference
like it.
between James Bond. James Bond is very elegant. Yeah, I'll give you that.
He's got class.
But Mission Impossible is always let's take it to the next level. It's always about taking it to the next
Well,
level.
that's
Every
literally the
film.
title,
That
Mission
is
Impossible.
And
awesome.
they
it's
have
like,
super
This
supporting
this should
characters.
be
They have
impossible, but we're gonna
better
make it
supporting
happen.
characters.
They have better supporting
Better
characters
supporting
in the Mission
characters.
Impossible movies.
Yeah.
Money Penny's been replaced a bunch of time. Naomi Harris
Yeah.
is good as her. M has been now replaced. Judi Dench was fine. And,
Yes.
and Ray Fiennes is fine. And M is kind of like fine. He was the old guy, and now he's the young guy. Q.
Yeah.
They're all fine. But it's really Daniel Craig, right? And then if you look at the Mission Impossible movies, yes, they've replaced some of the team members, but ones that have stuck out, like Luther Stickle, Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
He's been there since the beginning. Benji was added in 3, Simon Pegg's character, and he's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
great. It's added this element of humor
Yep.
that wasn't necessarily in the first one, but they don't go too hokey with it either. They keep it stripped down. He's the computer nerd guy. They try to do it in the second one with that, was he an Irish guy or whatever? Remember they brought that one
Yeah,
guy
yeah, I know
in,
what you're talking about.
in the second film, who was never in another one. They try to bring it, and he
Now
didn't-
they're bringing in Superman.
Oh, Henry Cavill looks.
Oh my
he's like,
God, dude, he
you work with a
looks
scalpel.
sick.
I prefer a hammer. Like that whole. It looks good.
Looks sick.
I
What's
like
funny
it.
is when I saw the trailer for the new film originally with him, I thought Cruise and him were fighting, and then if you rewatch, I rewatched the trailer and I realized that he's actually fighting someone else.
But in
and
the
Cruise
news
is
trailer,
fighting
they are
somebody
in the
completely
helicopter
different.
thing. He's trying to kill Cruise. in the
You
newer
just
one.
love it because Cruise flew that fucking helicopter.
That doesn't mean it. The scene just looks.
I didn't
really
even
cool.
know that he flew the helicopter.
Yeah,
until you told
he
me.
clocked 2,000 hours
Which
to
is
be able to get his
insane.
pilot license, to be able to do that, and then to maneuver it and to fucking spin
Daniel
it
Craig
out.
don't
and
need that. He just relies on
nose
CG.
yeah.
That's
literally. I'm
crazy.
surprised Tom did. And that in this thing, he also did a Halo jump.
He did do a Halo jump.
So crazy.
It's great, and that's just in one fucking movie. The one before that, Rogue Nation, it starts with him. He literally was like, "Oh, let's get out the major stunt out in the beginning of the film.
beginning
Opening
film.
scene.
Let me
he
just hang
hangs
out
on
of
a
a
plane.
plane.
I will say,
It's crazy. It's
for me
nutso.
personally,
That's Mission Impossible.
But for me, watching the Mission Impossible films is like more of the just knowing that the actor did a lot of his own stunts and like the spectacle of that. And the story of the characters have never really engrossed me to the point where I like love it. Like I don't own any of it. I think I
One
own the
and
first
three,
film.
like that. One and
I
three.
own like tons of the Bond films.
But does 1 and 3 go beyond the stunts for you? Because 3, what's the stunt in 3?
yeah, that's right. Well, 3 does. Yeah, 1 and 3.
What's the stunt? Do you
Jump
remember
out
what
of
the
the
stunt was? I remember what the stunt was, but it's not about the stunt really in that
It wasn't,
movie.
yeah.
They specifically
Was that the
did
one
that.
when they were in Dubai?
Yeah, but the
No.
Burj Khalifa Dubai was in 4. That's
Protocol.
Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible 3, which is the J.J. Abrams one, they did a fulcrum jump out where he swings across the building, he lands
Yep.
on the other building, and it's to shoot the guys as he's sliding down the glass.
Yeah.
But it was just like, we have to get in this building and get the rabbit's foot. That's what they have to do.
Yeah.
And it's not highlighted like, oh, look, this is the major stunt we're doing with the movie. They decided to literally just go, okay, we're going to do one, but it's not going to be the focal point.
Right.
You know, in the marketing at least. And,
Mission Impossible is not just a film, man. It's a lifestyle.
and
You
even the
just don't
first
know it
movie,
yet.
the stunt is
That's
just
the
him
fun.
breaking in Langley
You know what?
and coming slowly down.
I just
on the
had
thing.
like
That's it.
I just had like a moment, like the N64 version of GoldenEye that came
GoldenEye.
out was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I played the shit out of it with my friends. We all played it. Everybody loved
did,
it. It was
yeah.
incredible.
Proximity
People loved that game.
Mines, everything. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
came out with the Mission Impossible game based on the first film for
I don't
N64
remember
that
it.
was fucking garbage.
I don't remember
And
it.
I've like hated Mission Impossible since then. That might be
Maybe
why
that-
I hate
maybe
it.
that's why.
That's
It's
kind of weird.
childhood trauma with that garbage game that
That's-
came out.
that's crazy
It was
that-
like third person, like you're.
I'm glad you've now
it's
seen that
garbage.
because now you can separate it out because that should
I still
not
think
be.
Bond's better. Oh, whatever.
That's fine. That's fine. But you're also you're specifically saying Daniel Craig's Bond is better than the Mission Impossible films.
I do think.
But you're not
so.
necessarily saying like the Roger Moore films are better than Mission Impossible.
Well, which film?
films.
Which Mission Impossible film is better than Casino Royale?
3?
You think it's better than
I
Casino
think
Royale?
it's
Here's what
better.
I'll say, and I'll be completely honest.
it's very difficult, but I'll say 3.
I will only say this.
Wow.
I'll say Casino Royale can rival any Mission Impossible film, but that's it. That's the only one
Rival.
out of those. Rival. I think it can go head to head with those
They
films.
can go head to head with 2.
No, it'll beat 2. Everything will beat 2. No, 2's got some good stuff.
Wait,
but
does
I don't think it beat 3.
But low
Does
point,
Quantum of Solace?
No, Mission
Does
Impossible
Quantum
2.
of Solace beat
no,
2?
no. Mission Impossible 2 and Quantum of Solace are like those are the ones
I
that
feel
go up
like
against each other.
20 years from now, everyone's gonna rewatch Quantum of Solace. There's gonna be some hidden meaning, like Stanley Kubrick shit that we like all missed. And
It's
be
gonna
like,
be
oh,
like-
this is some fucking
it's gonna
masterpiece.
be the key
you know?
to society is gonna be in
Yeah,
there somehow.
society's gonna like a peace will reign
Find our
across the
answer and
planet because
solutions
of
to
Quantum
life.
of Solace.
Yes.
right.
Some hidden secrets.
It's gonna be in the
that
name
shit.
itself. Once we could figure out what the fuck that means.
A quantum is like a unit of time.
Yeah.
And solace means like peace or calm. So like it's to have like a moment.
There was a
of
peace in
I don't
time.
remember what that has to do with the movie though. Casino
Because-
Royale, I understood. Skyfall.
What's
I
funny is I didn't understand the
Spectre-
title either, and I looked up all the words, and I was like, oh, so basically it's like James Bond who's like constantly doing all this shit and dealing with all this shit, like just what? Like I think he actually says the term. Quantum
He
of
must.
Solace
He
in
must.
the
I don't
film.
remember, but that's how much that movie didn't mean.
It's a
anything
great
to me.
title. I think the title's
It's
great
a good
when you
movie.
understand
It's a
what
good
the
ti-
fuck
when
the
you
words.
It's a great
I'm saying
title,
I understand
but,
the other titles because they actually have something to do with the movie. Quantum of Solace must, but
Yeah.
because the movie was confusing and I didn't like it very much, I didn't. I don't.
I will
remember.
say I even liked who's that wrestler guy who was in Spectre? The guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah. He was also in Blade Runner 2049.
He did great.
He was incredible.
Drax the Destroyer, and he played in Blade
forget
Runner.
what his
2049.
name is, yeah.
Shit.
But
Come
anyway,
on.
he's like
I'm not good with names.
really
Oh my God,
like they
I
really
know his
like
name.
that whole fight sequence on the train in Spectre where like he shows up and him and the chick are Bond and the chick are fighting him and he's like fucking throwing through Bond like walls and shit.
Yeah.
And that is like one of the most brutal. I watched that scene
Dave,
and I was
Dave
like,
Bautista.
Dave
Yeah,
Bautista,
Dave
yeah.
Bautista.
I don't even know. I'm like curious to actually watch the behind the scenes on that to see how that scene was shot because it looks like Daniel Craig is the actor doing a lot of that stuff. And I'm
Right.
sure they have like breakaway walls and all that kind of breakaway
Yeah.
tables and stuff. But there's like some serious, brutal, like wrestling type shit that goes on in that scene, and it's incredibly well choreographed.
Yeah.
It's like
now I have
crazy.
a question. Who do you think looks like they're more enthusiastic to be there, Daniel Craig or Tom Cruise?
What do you mean in the film?
Yeah, just look like they're not. They really want to be there, and they're really making this movie go and giving it their 100%.
Oh, I definitely think I would probably say Cruise, but Craig definitely doesn't hold back at all.
He does, but he
Like,
kind
this
of
is
like
the
the last
best
two
shit he's
movies,
ever
the
done.
last movie, and then this next one, he wasn't really done. He kind of was like, I'm kind of done playing Bond.
No, that's what he
And
told
Ethan
the
Hunt's
public.
like Tom Cruise is like he makes the movie.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
Daniel
It's his
Craig
film.
doesn't want to do it anymore.
It's his
but he
vision.
said he didn't want to do it because it's just too physical, and he doesn't like all that physical. He has to apparently spend months getting like physically fit for the film
Right.
to do all the action shit. Because I
And-
guess he does a lot of the action stuff himself.
He doesn't do the Tom Cruise action.
No,
though.
he doesn't do that stuff.
He's
obviously.
not
They're
clocking
not.
to
I'm not saying that Daniel Craig and Tom Cruise are comparable in
I'm
like
just saying,
that kind
I'm-
of physical
yeah.
physicality, but the choreographed scenes I think are incredible, and I feel like I don't know, like these last Casino Royale, Spectre, and Skyfall specifically,
Yeah.
those three. I have to rewatch Quantum of Solace. There might be some good stuff in there.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't like
It's just a confusing movie. That's
It
why I
is. That's
think
the
it was
problem.
bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't follow what the fuck was going on. And they
that's
were
a-
like the way it was edited, the way it was shot, everything.
the
felt
storyline,
wrong.
the dialogue, like everything just felt like it just
Yeah.
did not come together. It's like that
Yeah.
thing where you're like,
It didn't.
shit, it just didn't.
There were like weird silhouette scenes where you just like for 5 minutes you'd see Bond in like a silhouette and like walking.
Which they did
and,
that
like,
in Skyfall, by the way. They did that whole silhouette scene, but that was cool. The action scene on top of that building in that room, and it was like the
Oh, yeah, with the
silhouette-
colors, yeah.
that fight
Oh,
scene.
yeah. The
glass
It was a great
scenes.
scene. That's one of
Yeah.
my favorite
It's
scenes
beautiful.
in the movie,
Beautiful.
like
Very
aesthetically.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just like, and even in Skyfall when he like gets shot and then he like fakes
the
his
train,
death
yeah.
and then
He's
you know
like
he's
banging
out of,
women and drinking. And
yeah, and he,
on that
well, he
island.
left all the shrapnel like in his shoulder to like remind him of this like failure or whatever, like this whatever in his in his mind was going on.
Yeah.
Like he
Sam
was like,
Mendes was a great addition to those Bond films. Like he's
Yeah.
a director. He did Skyfall and he did Spectre.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
coming back for the next one, by the way.
Oh, he's not coming back. Did they say he was coming back?
I don't think they've nailed
Who?
down who's directing. Sam Mendes. He's
Sam-
directed
yeah,
the
he's
last
not-
two. I don't think he's. I
he's
don't know.
not
I don't
coming
think. I don't know if they've got the director. I forget.
Yeah.
People were like Christopher Nolan, and he's like, I'm not. If I ever do a Bond film, because he is interested, he's like, it'll be a reboot. He doesn't want to take over somebody else's Bond.
Right,
You
the
know,
story.
He wants
I'm
to have
sure
his own
this is
vision.
gonna like end the Daniel
Like,
Craig.
Which maybe
yeah.
that's what
You'll
James
get
Bond
like
needs.
Idris Elba or
Oh
somebody.
yeah, no, that I get it. Like if he doesn't, there's a huge separation of time. And when did Casino Royale come out?
2006.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, he's
that's
going
a long
on.
time for one actor
It's
to
coming out,
dedicate
what,
his career,
2020?
his life to. Really,
It's coming out 2020, so it'll be 14 years. Oh, and when he was cast, people were like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" It was the Heath Ledger casting of Joker. Like people were like, "No,
Yeah.
Daniel Craig,
Yeah.
like he doesn't look like he'd be Bond. Nobody really knew him. He was in like
He
Layer
was- he's
Cake.
He was
Great
in
Bond.
Tomb Raider. He
Yeah,
was in the first Tomb
yeah.
Raider.
Wasn't he in Road to Perdition or whatever? He's the piece of
Yeah,
shit
he
son.
was. Yeah,
He
he
was in
was.
Layer
He
Cake.
was honestly kind of like an unknown to most
Yeah, and he was
people.
rough looking. Like he was
Yeah.
not like this pretty boy kind of,
No.
the Pierce
Yeah.
Brosnan one.
Which is funny because I think people now associate him as a pretty boy for that character, which
kind
is weird.
of. Yeah, he's a bit
People
of a sexy
associate
little-
like women will
Well, when
associate
he-
handsome with
yeah,
James Bond.
when he came out of the fucking the water in the Casino Royale with those little like boxer brief swim trunks on and the perfect body, people were like, "Oh, I see it. I could fuck him." Like that was my thought.
Wait, what was I feel like I had this whole point that I was building up to earlier, and now I've been totally different.
About what?
the fuck was I saying?
About Daniel Craig, or
Maybe it was like, it was comparing like these.
You're
It was
comparing
something like
the-
moments in the Bond.
No,
film.
yeah,
Oh,
you
you
were
said this
comparing
is
the
a-
elegance of James Bond to Mission Impossible, and that's
Yeah.
just not. You can't compare that. Mission Impossible is not trying to be an elegant film.
Well, that's what
it's
I like.
trying to be
A lot of spy films.
that's what I was gonna
Okay.
say. Sorry. The Bond films feel more grounded because there's less. It seems like I know I may be wrong.
Because you just named this whole cuff thing with the train, the breakaway. That's
Yeah.
not,
No,
that's
that, but-
impossible. That's like doesn't make sense.
Right,
On top
but
of that,
it-
speeding, training, getting shot off, and living, like a
my
lot
po-
of that
but-
doesn't make sense.
Okay, so I will say, and I know there's a lot, like there's definitely some CG in Spectre, but it feels like the films feel more grounded. The 007 films or the James Bond films, especially with Daniel Craig, feel more grounded.
What do
because
you
it seems
mean?
like
I
they,
bet you
it seems
there's
like
more
they lose.
CG.
They don't use as much CG as they do in Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible.
Name
there's-
something,
there's-
name something that looks like CG, because that's the thing about Tom Cruise specifically. He hates CG. He's
No,
like,
I
we're gonna do
know.
everything practical effects. They literally use minimal CG. That's
Yeah.
what's incredible.
Yeah.
They name one sequence where you could think of in the
I can name one.
Mission Impossible scenes that actually looks like actual CG. That's what's incredible.
Well,
about
even
those
in,
films.
even in the new film, there's a scene where he's riding a motorcycle, it gets hit by something, and you could tell it's like a CG cruise.
Oh, when he
rolling
rolls
across
over
it.
the thing,
To
and-
me, I wish they hadn't had that in the trailer because I was like, oh, fucking CG, I hate it.
Right, but the train,
Like, I
the,
lost
the thing where he
interest.
jumps
Yeah,
off.
but
and
you
was
can't
like,
bring
this-
you can't bring
I'm a
that up.
fucking
You can't
practical
bring that
snob,
up
man.
because
You
you
say
haven't
that, but
even
you
seen
name
the
you
film.
name you
I
name this
know.
James
Yeah,
Bond
I know.
scene. You name this James Bond scene where he jumps on the train. The train breaks away behind him and he fixes his
That
cuff.
doesn't even feel like when
But
I
it
watched
is.
that
You think
scene.
he
I'm like,
fucking did that?
there's no CG. That's he really
you
did
think
it.
Snickers
they had him on
fucking eating,
wires.
Do you think Snickers eating fucking Daniel Craig fat fuck is like doing that scene for real? Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. He's probably a double with a CG mask.
That was green
Come
screen on green screen.
Yeah,
I'm
on
sure
green
there was
screen.
some green screen.
I'm just saying, don't fucking come at me
Whatever.
with this
I'm
shit.
not trying. You're trying to compare like the physicality of the two actors. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying that scene did not feel CG. The helicopter scene in the beginning of Spectre did when when they're spinning in the helicopter. Obviously, that's
a lot of
very
It's
CG.
comparable, if anything. It's
Maybe
not.
they're
You can't. I'm
comparable.
just saying you
I
can't use
feel-
that point against Mission Impossible, where it literally prides itself. That's what's so incredible
Yeah.
about Mission Impossible, with how little CG they feel, and you think, oh, is that CG? It's real. You're like, he must not be climbing out that fucking Burj Khalifa building like that with a
Yeah.
fucking. That is a ridiculous scene, and
Yeah.
we
They
do
do
not
it.
talk about that enough.
Honestly, I wouldn't have thought any of it was real if Cruise wasn't like posting on his social media that, like photos of him in that
sitting at the top
location
and
or whatever.
130 floors up, just fucking climbing on the outside, and people
Yeah.
are like, well, he's gonna
You know
die
how
today.
fucking windy
You
it
realize,
is?
like, the insurance company that it's
crazy.
insuring
I
him
watched-
is like terrified every
oh,
time he makes
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah,
mission.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't want to pay out the like $500 million. Or
Those
whatever the
guys
fuck
release
his
every
insurance
fucking
is.
bodily fluid
Yeah.
and other thing, sitting in their fucking gut every time
like,
they watch
"Don't
these
die,
scenes.
motherfucker."
I watched that, by the way, in a real IMAX theater in Lincoln Square in New York. Right, it's one of the big real IMAX theaters that you find at like the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, which is the fourth one.
yeah.
Watching that scene on a wraparound screen, fucking floor to ceiling, huge thing, dead center, watching that.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck me. Well, like it was like my palms were sweating. I was like, this is just the craziest shit I've
Oh,
ever
yeah.
fucking seen. And you know it's real.
Yeah.
Even in the trailer for the new one where he jumps to that other building, and
Yeah.
they put that in the trailer because
Where
his
he, like,
foot
broke his leg,
He
or-
broke his foot.
Yeah.
Have you seen the slow
Was it his
motion of
shin
that
or something?
No. Here's what
Oh,
they
it was his
did.
foot.
When he was on the Graham Norton show, you know, that UK show
Yeah.
where they're all kind of sitting on the couch and
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
That's a great talk show. I love like the snippets from that. So he's there. They're all there promoting it. And Graham Norton's like, I'm going to show this thing. We're going to zoom in and we're going to go in slow motion on this fucking scene. He jumps. His foot hits the wall and bends inwards to his shin. Like his toes touch his shin.
Yeah.
It is so excruciating to watch.
Yeah.
And that's what's in the movie.
Yeah,
only
they
got
did
one
like 3
take.
takes, and that was the 3rd take or something.
I thought it was
right?
like one take, and that was the only take.
No,
and he broke it on the
Cruise
first one.
said, I think in the Graham Norton
Did he
show,
do
they did several takes, but they chose to use that one in the scene because
I thought he only got one take.
He
and it was
broke
too
his
expensive
fucking
to do
foot
it again.
and
He
then kept
going.
running, like, and then
'Cause
they
he's a
said
producer.
cut, and then he's like, "Oh, my leg!"
Because he's a producer and he's like, this is too expensive to do over. We can't like afford
Yeah,
to not
he's
keep
like,
the
I'm gonna
shot.
keep running, yeah.
We can't do this setup. And he's jumping. I mean, he's got the cables on, but he's jumping from one building to the fucking next.
Yeah.
Breaks his foot, and that scene is in the trailer even. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck me.
Yeah.
So just watching these things, and I watched, like I said, I saw Ghost Protocol on the big IMAX theater, and actually would like to go see this next one in the big IMAX because he takes advantage of that
Right.
big scale stuff, and they filmed a lot of that with IMAX cameras. That Burj Khalifa, it's like,
Yeah.
it's so incredible to watch, and I was like, this is just one of the most amazing things. Like, it's just Buster Keaton or
Yeah.
hanging off the fucking buildings and on
It's
the
true.
skyscraper beams.
It is very unique because there are not any or
Yeah.
many actors that are known for like the physicality and like
yeah,
going.
nobody
going
does it like that.
There are a couple people like Baby Driver, what's his name? Like did a lot.
Yes,
of, tried
Ansel
to do a lot of
Elgort.
those
Yeah.
stunts and stuff.
Absolutely,
So there
yeah.
are some people, if it's safe enough, they're
Exactly. Like
they'll
learning
do
to
it,
drive a
but-
car and do stunt
Dude,
things
shit
with the
happens,
car.
man. There are actors and stunt drivers that have died on sets because
Yeah.
the actors thought that
Absolutely.
they could do it.
Totally,
you know?
but climbing 130 stories up, jumping from building to building, like these
Yeah.
things are like
like
2,000
some-
hours.
You know-
ago.
you know-
helicopter is a bit different than a fucking.
But to a degree,
car,
like
solo
to
in a
me,
helicopter.
like I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
A part of me thinks it's awesome, and another part of me feels like they come up with the spectacle and then they build a story around the spectacle.
Well, he always has ideas,
And I feel
he has
like-
ideas for stunts, and he goes, "Will this fit?" But they've always figured out a way. That like the story
I know.
always serves. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like it's eclipsed, and I like that.
But the reason why it fits is because it's not like
The
a-
underwater
Mission
scene
Impossible
in,
has
in Rogue
yeah.
Nation, he learned to fucking hold his breath for 7 minutes underwater to be able to do that scene. Yeah.
But that's the thing about Mission
appreciation for
Impossible. It's not-
filmmaking. Like
Hold on.
there's like the movie is like he respects the genre, like
Oh, yeah.
the format enough to go, I don't want to fake it, man. I don't. like, as
He
much as
almost takes
possible."
it to like another level. Like his thing is like to serve the audience.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I
And that's
know
the
that
thing
I'm
about
an
the-
actor and I'm doing
the-
this for you guys.
Yeah,
Like
and
I'm not.
That's
doing
the
it
thing
because
about.
I
Hold
And
on
it
a second.
translates
Hold on a
to the
second.
film. It
That's the thing
translates.
about the Mission Impossible genre is that it's not just a one location film. So,
Neither is
so
Bond.
stunts and what they do
Yeah, Bond goes
usually.
around.
Bond is
well, no, I'm not
never
comparing to
one
Bond.
location.
I'm comparing. I'm
You're
saying
just
the
saying it as its
stunts.
own thing.
The stunts that they
Yeah.
decide to do. It usually does fit into the film because it's so many locations and based on so many different areas that it does not fit into
Yeah, it's
the
not
film.
Fast and Furious
It's not
jumping out
Fast
of planes with a
exactly.
car with a parachute. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
It's
Parachuting
not,
cars down.
Hey, we have this. I want to come up with this stunt in London and stuff. You know, can we fit it into the film? Yeah, we have a location in London that we're gonna shoot. You know, so
Yeah.
it always works.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. I mean, the thing is, they are different. But the one thing I like about the Mission Impossible films is usually when you have a spy film, it's copying Bond to some degree. Mission Impossible is not copying. They're carving their own path.
Yes.
They're
you
not
have
Bond
to.
film. I know, but like that's what's made them successful too. Is that they're carving their own path. They're not copying other shit. You know what I mean? You don't see it borrowing from Fast and Furious. You don't see it borrowing from the same genre. From the James Bond arguably has been the gold standard for the last 40, 50 years.
I'm amazed
films.
that the Bond films have continued to innovate and feel original.
Because of Casino Royale. Like Daniel Craig films were the ones that did it because they were getting stagnant.
But they're even following like all the same tropes as the previous films, which I understand because
I think
it's
they're
like,
not.
you know,
That's the thing they're not doing. That's what made Casino Royale stand out. Is they broke from the tropes of the original.
it just
ones.
feels like, but
He
they
became
were still
vicious.
there. It's just modern.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean his character?
was
The character
very-
has changed.
His
Yeah.
character
I'm
was-
talking about like
yeah.
having a villain, having a babe, having the gadgets,
Oh, yeah.
having the different locations. Like
The gadgets
starting
don't get out of
film.
control though. They cut back on the gadgets.
Oh yeah,
and
well that was big in Spectre. He literally gets a gun. Skyfall. Fuck, was this guy? Yeah, Skyfall. He gets the gun, and then he gets like a little radio, and that's like all he gets.
Yeah, which I love.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan
Although,
ended up with like an invisible
scene
car.
at
Do you remember
towards
that?
the end of,
remember the invisible car? The invisible car with Pierce Brosnan.
That was
It's like
hilarious.
the last movie
That's
he did.
real technology.
Fucking. Come on.
They're building
broad
camouflage technology.
daylight.
They're building
not
the
camouflage in
invisibility
broad
cloak
daylight.
from fucking Harry Potter. Like that's real shit.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's true.
I know. No. I've seen it. I've seen them
Google
do it,
it.
but it's nothing like what they had in that fucking
No.
movies at
Yeah.
all. Yeah. It's not Harry Potter and the fucking prisoner of MI6.
Harry Potter is basically all technology. They just, J.K.
The
Rowling
wand?
didn't acknowledge.
All right.
it,
All right.
you know.
But
Q came up with the wand.
What is it? Any sufficient high-level technology is like indistinguishable from magic. Isn't that a Arthur C. Clarke quote?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
sounds like
that's a
quote.
great quote. Yeah.
Anyway, so the thing is, they've carved their own path in Mission Impossible, which I really do like. Like, I like the fact
I
that they're
just
not
can't
borrowing.
believe that you guys think those films are better than.
I don't understand how you're so like against it. You're so like
Because to me,
so like
they-
it's at a
Honestly,
you're so
to
like
me,
it's,
I
here's the thing.
enjoy Mission
It's
Impossible
so-
movies
it's-
more than I
Mission
enjoyed
Impossible
most
has
Bond films.
always felt like a Bond copycat, and that's
I
how
just said this,
always-
and you disagree with me that it wasn't. You just
No,
are sitting
I
here going,
agree that they're that with you when you said they're carving their own way, which
they're
I
not
said they
copying.
have to.
What
Because
are they
how can you
doing
have
that's
Bond and
copying?
these in the same universe?
What in that movie is a copy at all? Name something
Yeah.
other than it's the fact that they're spies.
Spies, that's it.
They're not even.
Oh, okay. Let's not
It's a
talk about the
spy
A team.
action film.
Let's not talk about the A team. Let's not
Yeah,
talk about
come
Jack.
on.
Jack.
Oh, Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the Jack Ryan.
But
films.
he's
I
different.
like
He's, a
all those
data,
Harrison
he's a
Ford.
data analyst. That's what I like about
But
that.
I love Red October. I loved Clear and Present Danger. I like all
Patriot
those
Games.
Patriot
I
Games.
did, okay, answer.
I did not. I wasn't a huge fan
Some
of
of all
their-
fears.
So
their
answer
remake.
me this.
Some of all fears I like.
Shadow
Why?
Recruit.
Shadow
Recruit.
Protocol.
Shadow
Recruit.
Shadow
Shadow
Recruit.
Recruit, yeah.
Why are you so like?
You
They're
know-
like this. Look, they're like this. And they're like teeter tottering, like within the same.
They're
level.
comparable,
They're comparable.
but I
Yes,
enjoy
exactly.
Mission Impossible
Why
movies
are
more
you
than-
so making them like it's so
you know-
two different levels? I don't get. I love James Bond films. I do. I love them. You know, I don't think they're to me, my personal opinion. I don't think they're a Mission Impossible standards. I think
Yeah.
Mission Impossible is
You know-
much
you know what it
higher
could
than
be?
they are. But why?
more inconsistent. I
More
think.
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I mean, we're just to be fair, we're just taking like the Daniel Craig films and comparing.
Yeah,
them to
because
the
it's more
Mission Impossible
modern and
films.
yeah, like if I start talking about Moonraker and shit, then he's gonna lose.
I don't know, man, but some of these like there's something about like they're, you know, like that these films are so old, like they go back to my childhood, like turning on the fucking TV and then you know
Bond.
having like Sean Connery be Bond or whatever, or having like a Timothy Dalton film come on or a Roger Moore film coming on. And to me, it was like this iconic character. Like my entire life, it's been this iconic character. And then Ethan Hunt kind of shows. I mean, I know Mission Impossible is a TV show. I never watched the show, but I love the music.
Ethan Hunt wasn't a character from the show anyway, so that's fine. Like I said, Jim Phelps.
Oh,
was the
right,
original.
yeah.
Fucking Tiego's got World Cup. Somebody just stormed the fucking field. We got the World Cup playing on a TV in the background on silent for Tiego because he's from Brazil. Some guy just ran on the fucking field.
Oh,
Three
really?
people.
yeah. 3 people?
Randoms?
Yeah.
Are they being dragged off?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if some fucking crazy shit happens, like they disappear. Or helicopter.
This is it though. This is the game.
Yeah, this is live, right? Oh, wait, so what's happening? Oh, it's in slow motion. This guy's running. They're going for it. What's happening?
he's-
Where's these people coming up?
Are they gonna? At some person, it doesn't want one of the teams. To
Oh,
win.
they're just doing a recap
Now
of
it's a
like
recap.
them not storming the fucking field. Come on.
No, this guy's supposed to be like the next like.
They got 3
big
people went
player.
on the field. How did the security miss that? Ugh.
Oh, dude, there's so many
Anyway.
people like right on the field, like you know.
I
All
All
right.
you,
there
they
you
just
go.
don't expect you to hop over the thing.
For the record, I can give a shit about the World Cup, but Diego really wanted this on in the background. But he's actually
don't-
he's
don't-
been
don't-
pretty.
don't-
He's
don't
been
put-
you've been pretty
don't put-
present.
Dude,
been
you've
present,
literally
so I
alienated
forgot
the
it was-
entire planet by saying that.
Ah,
Yeah,
fuck
the entire fucking planet.
Fuck
Oh my-
the entire planet. Come at me, bro. I'll take you all on. All right, that's too much.
Go watch Shaolin,
So please
Shaolin
cut this whole.
Soccer. Please
So
watch
I
it. It's
stopped the
very good.
podcast to see that.
Yeah.
So please take this whole section. out.
Yeah, I'll keep
because
it.
I don't want to.
I'll keep it. This is real life, man. This is real life.
No, we shouldn't be watching.
He's gonna
the
leave
World
it
Cup
in.
the
You know he's
back
gonna fucking leave it in.
Yeah, you're doing it. No, surprisingly, you've been pretty present in this argument. You've been
Yeah.
more not present when the fucking thing isn't on, so I'm surprised. It's probably because you feel so impassioned about the fact that Mission Impossible
Yeah, I'm very passionate about
is a
Mission
real
Impossible.
contender
That's why,
against
yeah,
James
yeah,
Bond.
yeah.
Anyways, like I said, when it comes down to this for me, I enjoy the Mission Impossible movies more than almost any Bond film, save Casino Royale. I feel like a lot more effort.
Have you
and
seen all the Bond
energy.
films?
I've seen 90 to 95% of the Bond films.
Oh, you haven't seen all of them?
Have you?
Yeah.
You've seen the original Casino Royale, Jimmy Bond?
Yeah.
Okay, you've seen, I'm going to go through them. You've seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Yeah.
You've seen, I feel like there's going to be one in here.
No.
Which one is it? Just say it now so I don't have to.
I've
list
seen
a bunch
all
of
of them.
Octopussy.
No, you have a connect. You have a
Moonraker.
connection to
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I've seen Diamonds Are Forever. I'm sure you've
I've
seen
seen,
that one.
and
That's one of the better
out of
ones.
all of them, I've seen multiples of those, like several times. Like
You've
a
seen
lot
Live
of
and
the
Let
Sean
Die?
Connery. I'm more of a Sean Connery guy, so I'm definitely
Sean
more of a
Connery and Daniel
Connery
Craig
guy.
are my top guys.
Yeah.
George Lazenby.
I actually really like Timothy Dalton. Everybody shit on him.
I know.
I get the impression
He
that
was
people
good.
shit on him, but I really like
It's
the two
actually it was
films
probably
he
his
did.
look more than anything that threw
And
people off.
I do like Pierce Brosnan, so I have those probably I've rewatched the most.
Really, I think
Yeah.
they're the
At
worst-
least
they're some
Die
of the
Another
wor-
Day and Goldeneye. Those
Yeah,
two.
okay, which are two of the better ones. Because here's the thing, I think Roger Moore and Pierce Brosnan put up some of the worst Bond films. They have a couple good ones in there, like I said, Live and Let Die. And Goldeneye, but like a lot of their films can get really shitty. And I think Sean Connery put up like one. Which one was that? Fuck, I forget which one. And I was like, nah,
What, Never
not
Say
feeling it.
Never?
It wasn't no, because I actually enjoyed that one when it came out. Never Say Never Again. I
wasn't
enjoyed
a
it.
huge fan.
You know, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I enjoyed it when I
It
originally
felt like
saw it.
Hollywood was in like a low production value.
It's a weird
era.
film for James Bond, but there was one early on I remember got so gadgety, and there was something. And he was on this big. He had this big jetpack. He was coming down onto a ship. I forget which one that was, and I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
But like Man with the Golden Gun is great. Goldfinger was great. So there's a lot of good ones, but I feel like Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore
I feel like
put up some of
Austin
the
Powers
worst
wouldn't
ones.
exist without James Bond.
Totally, absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. But like I said, Mission Impossible, it's got one low point, which is Mission Impossible 2, which it still has some decent stuff in it. But it's 1, 3, 4, 5, and what looks like 6. In my opinion, are next level shit. I think they
Yeah.
are great.
This is the ultimate question.
Yes.
So you live the rest of your life. Your kids grow up. You grow
Mission
old.
Impossible.
Your family grows old. The world changes.
Yeah.
You're on your deathbed, and somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Nick, Diego, James Bond or Ethan Hunt?" You're gonna
Hunt.
fucking
Ethan
say
Hunt.
Ethan
James
Hunt.
Bond.
Why would
Why
I?
would you say Ethan Hunt is so crazy?
Because these movies will stand the test of time too.
no, they won't.
They will. You
Cruise
think
is-
they
at
won't?
some point, Cruise is gonna stop making them, and they're not gonna reboot
Tom
it.
Cruise.
Nobody, who's
I
gonna
know.
take Cruise's place? Do you know what they're gonna
Why?
do? They're always
doesn't
gonna be
matter.
Bond
It doesn't
films.
matter.
We're gonna
Because
be
he's
90 years
irreplaceable.
old.
He's
It doesn't matter.
irreplaceable.
It's still gonna be there.
Irreplaceable. Go.
We're gonna be in our fucking 90s, and it will have been like 6 more Bonds from now.
Because
that's
he's
what's gonna happen.
inseparable
It
from the
doesn't matter.
character.
If we live to the 90s,
100 people
That's
can
the
play
whole
James
thing.
Bond. One person can play Ethan Hunt. In your face.
because he
Dick in your mouth.
The character is like Cruise is like made it his character,
Exactly.
which is a positive thing, but also a negative thing because the franchise won't continue.
It's so unique.
Doesn't matter.
So unique.
The next step is Jack
So
Ryan.
unique. James Bond could be played by 100 guys. You could change up the character.
That's
Yeah.
what's so great about it. I
That's
think.
great. That's great. But you
'Cause-
first off hate reboots and sequels, so I don't know what the fuck your problem is. You're such a weird guy.
dude. By the
You're like,
time
don't just be making. I'll be Neil for a second. Give me 2 seconds to
Here
be
we go.
Neil. You're like, now I'm gonna be 9 years old. They're gonna be making James Bond 150. They're gonna have Zac Efron. Zac
Zac
Efron
Efron would be a
Jr.
good James Bond.
Zac Efron Jr.
Who's British, by the way.
Yeah, who's now British because he banged Grace, Princess of Monaco's granddaughter. And now they're going to.
And you're gonna be on your deathbed. You're gonna be like, Ghostbusters 2 is the best.
You can only
and
it's
fucking-
only be used on the exclusive chip in your brain streaming platform. And fuck you, Neil.
This is true. These are all true things. Is that how I sound?
That was an exact impression.
He actually went undertone instead of a higher
true.
pitch.
Oh, man.
So-
Anyways, all right. Well, listen. It's the unfortunate thing about these verses, especially when Diego's on somebody's side and isn't split down the middle. They can't really have a winner. Like we still think Mission Impossible is better. We
I
haven't
can't
brought
believe
you
you
over.
guys think that.
But we paper rock
We
scissors.
brought up, yeah,
And
exactly.
still, you know what it is? You know what it is? I'm starting to feel like, I feel like I'm right. But I'm also feeling like maybe I should go and rewatch all these Mission
All right,
Impossible
Yeah.
fucking
Real
movies.
quick.
Hold on. That's-
Three
that's-
re-
wait,
The
you
only
said-
movie
you
that's
said
fresh
something.
in my mind is number 2 because I've seen it like 5 times in the last
And it's
month.
the worst of them, so I can understand why that would take you. But this is if we've only convinced you that you should at least go and revisit those movies,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty good.
That's a win.
Yeah, I feel like
I
I can end on that.
I,
Be good.
I
But
can
you-
end on that,
what
but
were
I
you gonna
feel
say?
we
You say what
had
you-
him teeter-tottering a little bit.
I don't
No,
think he was ever going to
no.
convert.
I never-
I don't think he was ever going to convert at all, but I
He
think
needs
I
in
was
the
gonna
middle,
like,
I
you
saw him
guys should have
struggling.
converted. This
Well,
is so crazy.
James Bond had this equipment which Mission Impossible didn't have it, and it was awesome. Used AA batteries.
We also didn't mention we also didn't mention the like
I think he was-
the years of sexism in James Bond where they always
Mission Impossible doesn't have that.
Took
Mission Impossible is
exploited women, but it's like the
Mission Impossible
Wait,
has
what?
had like
In a weird way.
Wait, Mission Impossible exploited women?
No,
No,
it's not
James
James
Bond.
Bond.
Oh, I was about to say, whoo.
But
Yeah,
like
we
the
can go on the
exploitation
negatives,
of
but-
women in James Bond in many ways is like
Still
like
doing it.
people still like
Not until
they
Skyfall had
understand
they
it.
like broken that streak with
Yeah.
Naomi Harris's Moneypenny.
Yeah.
But up until then, they still hadn't given any women like they're just doing. In
I don't
terms
know,
of like,
but in a weird way,
Mission
it's
Impossible
like
is
historical, or it's like it's become a thing where like even they've had whole documentaries on just Bond women,
Right.
where they just interview like 20 women who played like a Bond woman.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
But Mission Impossible,
Something about that
Rebecca
is
Ferguson's
iconic.
introduction has
You're
been
never
the-
gonna have that in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you're not. Rebecca Ferguson, because he's not just trying to fuck women and
He's married.
fuck bitches, get money, shoot.
That's
shoot
not what Bond is
criminals.
doing. He does it
He's
to
not doing that.
forward the Majesty's Secret Service and to save
So
England.
he's recruiting?
No, he's just being a good spy.
He's just getting his gun off. Okay, here's the thing.
Actually, if you watch Casino Royale,
Ethan Hunt
I
got
love
married.
That, I love
Ethan
that,
Hunt got married.
But I love that he fell in love with Vespa, and then she dies.
That was
And
great.
she also was like working with the bad guys,
I
and
like
that
that
just
a lot.
fucked him up.
I
On
like
like when
that
it
a
comes
lot.
to women. So then every other Bond film,
I know.
if you looked at Casino Royale as like the beginning of Bond, the character, and then you kind of like retrospectively look back and you're like, man, he just like disrespects women like crazy, and it makes sense if you watch.
I
that
agree.
Casino
Do you
Royale.
remember that-
That to me was genius.
What's
Like,
the
I
movie
love
where
that.
was it? No, I don't think it was Dr. No. It was like Diamonds Are Forever or something. The one where Sean Connery chokes that woman out with her own bra. He rips off her top or her like two-piece bikini top and
Don't
like,
forget
chokes
Pussy
her out.
Galore. Pussy Galore.
That literally was her name.
That was her name.
How
Pussy Galore.
on the nose can you be? There's no pussy galore. A lot of
had
vagina.
like dude, she had an island that had like a complex on it that was just filled with women fighters. And the
Neil,
women
Neil.
were like murdering
Neil,
like all these.
Neil, there's no snatch aplenty in fucking Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, a lot of
There's
a
no
lot of vagina.
There's
a
not,
lot of vagina.
There's
That
no
was in,
there's no plentiful fancy.
That was in Austin Powers, right?
Huh?
A lot of
vagina, yeah.
A lot of vagina.
There's none of those in Mission Impossible. Rebecca Ferguson's character in the last two movies, or the last one, and she's also in this next one,
Yeah.
is she's like
Badass.
on par, on the level with
Badass.
Ethan Hunt.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, which I like.
She's great in it, man. She's perfectly cast in those movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
right.
great. Just revisit the movies. I agree. Let's just leave it on
And
that.
you guys should revisit.
If you
these
re- I
Bond
actually would like
films.
If you
Yeah.
revisit the movie, I promise you I'll watch a trailer.
A
Of
Bond
what?
trailer.
James Bond.
No, I actually want to go back. I have a bunch of them.
Rewatch.
I have a bunch of them, by the way.
Rewatch Skyfall. Or
I don't
Casino
want to.
Royale.
I really didn't like Skyfall.
I like
Then
Skyfall a lot.
I
yeah.
didn't.
I love Skyfall.
I didn't like
I thought
Skyfall.
Skyfall was incredible.
Just rewatch it for Javier. Just watch Javier Bardem and go, how did this guy not win a fucking
great.
Oscar?
Yeah, he's great in it. He is great.
Like
in
he's
it.
just so good in that goddamn
I
movie.
don't
He's
doubt it. I'm
layered,
just.
he's-
I'm the
he's
opposite
brutal.
of you. You're so into James Bond. I'm so into Mission Impossible.
I have a question.
That's just the whole thing.
Quick question though. Philip Seymour Hoffman or Javier Bardem?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Javier Bardem.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Mm.
only because the character is like just so different and unique. Like the way even they introduced the character. Like I saw this interview because I remember watching that Skyfall in theaters
When
and
he
there's that-
walks that long,
Yeah,
thing,
that
you
long
don't really
dialogue
see-
where
but he's
he's-
also that he's walking. You see him in the distance, and he gets closer and closer. That's the first time you see him, and he's talking. I think, right?
But even that scene where he like sits down and then he like starts touching on Bond and
Yeah.
shit, and Bond's getting uncomfortable and and you're watching this whole
and when he
play
takes his
back
teeth
and
out,
forth.
that one
Yeah.
scene where he takes his teeth out, and
Yeah.
it's like you see how fucked up he
I
actually is.
I watched this interview and they were like, "Was that ad lib? Did you just do that in the scene?" It's like, no, that was all in the script.
he plays
Like,
him
that
almost
was all-
effeminate at times. Like it's
like I
a
like that.
very
Like it's just a very unique, interesting character. Philip Seymour Hoffman is incredible because he's so unpredictable
He's
and
so
cold,
cold.
and like he has this deadness about his
I
character.
love that though. Yeah.
Just
You don't know what his motives are. You don't
Yeah.
know what's motivating
That
him. Same with
he-
Javier Bardem, but Javier Bardem's like more flamboyant and is like
Yeah.
in the insanity.
Philip
like
Seymour
that.
Hoffman,
He
I'm
shoots that
more
chick
scared
or
of.
whatever.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
She puts the cup
Yeah,
on her
on the
head
cup of
and
head, he shoots
she's
her.
holding it, and then Bond
Olga,
shoots and misses,
whatever.
and then
Philip
he just
Seymour
shoots her in the chest.
Yeah.
Hoffman
Like,
was
no
more of
fucks.
an intellectual. He
Yeah.
wasn't more of a.
Well, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I'm more scared of than any of the villains.
Yeah,
either
he was
Bond
more
or
just
Mission
like-
Impossible. Like he actually is somebody because he felt very real, like a very real world guy.
Yeah.
There was nothing like high, fancy, crazy about him. He was just cold, calculated, and he actually scared the shit out of me. That's
Yeah.
the only guy. He was a highlight in the Mission Impossible films, I think.
Yeah.
And that I've always felt that way about him. I'm like, if you were to say Bond and Mission Impossible between all the villains that were in both those movies, I'm like, he actually is the only one where I'm like, I don't want to be in the same room with this guy. Javier Bardem is fantastic in it,
Yeah.
but still feels like a movie villain, whereas Philip Seymour Hoffman feels like a real guy. Like this may
Yeah.
be how
Yeah.
real guys are in the arms dealing world, where they don't care. Like there's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you. We're gonna end the podcast, but I'm gonna give you a scene. The torture scene in James Bond.
Oh, the balls.
The ball
yeah.
scenes,
Oh,
exactly.
with the
See
cutout
how it
chair.
been? That
Even the
has-
way they shot
has
that,
been,
when he gets the chair ready, cuts out the bottom.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh man.
That has been the,
You
the
just have to
worst
tell everybody
torture
you
scene
tickled my
I have
balls, and he
ever
starts
seen
laughing.
in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I will give you that scene.
Even the fact that guy, the bad guy in that, like
Bleeds
would bleed
blood
out of his eyes.
Tears.
Like it's
tears
just
of blood.
this weird
Mads
throwaway,
Mikkelsen,
and but
Hannibal.
it's like it makes you like it instantly makes him memorable.
Yeah.
This tiny little thing, this new little nuanced thing. I
And
mean,
he-
it's a crazy
And
thing.
he's
but-
killed so unceremoniously. Remember?
Yes.
During the torture scene, actually.
Yeah.
I'll get you your money.
because
Boom.
he was like a low level guy. Like he
Yep.
wasn't even the main
Which
guy,
is
but
great.
most of the movie you think he's like the main bad guy.
And that Vespa scene where she drowns in the elevator underwater,
And
and
he goes
he's
to
trying to
save
open
her
her up,
and-
and it's like that. It's very much a born supremacy scene where she
Yeah.
dies in the water.
I will say, Casino Royale is just like
I'll give you Casino
It's a
Royale
fucking
is,
highlight.
is literally can go toe to toe with any Mission Impossible.
Yes.
I've said that, and
Yeah.
absolutely. I just feel
It's-
like
it's
Mission Impossible
definitely-
has
It can.
a larger roster of
Yeah.
like.
it is it's a masterpiece in many
It
ways.
is great, fantastic movie. All right,
Let us know what you guys think. I think Mission Impossible won, but we're gonna.
Neil's
meet
just gonna
in-
at least go revisit it them
We're
to
gonna
see
be-
why we may think that it's at least.
I
on the
will go
same level.
rewatch Casino Royale. I'll give you that. I will
Rewatch Casino
attempt-
Royale.
I will attempt
Skyfall.
to watch Skyfall, but
I
I
think
promise you,
if you
I
do
just-
Casino
I just-
Royale first, you
Or
might
Spectre.
want to.
I like
It
Skyfall
might
a lot better
It might
than
motivate
Spectre,
me to watch it.
Have you seen Spectre?
Yeah, I've seen them
Okay.
all. I've
So-
seen them all. I've seen the John.
Rewatch
I
Casino
like James
Royale.
Bond. I like his character. I love his storyline.
Oh, so do I. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
Bond. I don't want to like have that twisted at all in this.
Yeah.
I just, it's just one I enjoy more. But if you revisit Casino Royale and maybe springboard from that into Skyfall, you might be like Skyfall is better. Once
My
you-
springboard
I-
might be broken, but I'll try.
I remember liking
saying.
Skyfall when I
weight
saw
issue.
it. I remember not really being super impressed with Spectre, but I've rewatched it 2 or 3 times since
good.
then, and I actually like it a lot.
Yeah,
more
I was
now.
surprised that people didn't like that as much as I did when I saw. I saw
You know
it.
what it is?
I
It's
saw it in a
like,
drive-in. Actually,
There's so much time it seems like between these films that I feel like there should be a Bond film and it hasn't happened yet, and I'm like,
Yeah,
and I want more Bond, and so I went back and watched Spectre, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember how much I fucking like Bond. Like
I like how they brought Blofeld back and they gave him more like you got that brother kind of concept. I like that. Christoph Waltz was great.
Yeah, I just
You didn't even know
the
he's
end of
Blofeld?
the end of that and like how they handle it. I felt like was. I mean, it's great. It's like the spectacle and everything and all that's like awesome.
Yeah.
But
He had a good storyline.
I wish they had done more with him because he's such a great actor.
Yeah, well, he's not dead.
It's true, he's not.
Yeah, he's not. So they could bring him back.
All right. Well,
right.
thank you guys for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. Let's Get to the Podcast with number 2. My name is Diego de Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
It's getting caught.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.